Okay, so let's go ahead and jump in. My name is Chelsea Roney. I am co-founder of Proxi. We started the company about 5 years ago as a solution to crowdsourced interactive maps, and we have been evolving ever since. And today we are very excited to launch our newest feature to you, which is Scavenger Hunt. It's really fun, and we hope that you'll enjoy it. I'll be interactive in the first part of this call. We'll go into a demo, and then we'll talk about some best practices and allow for questions as well. Katie is on the call as well, and I will let her introduce herself.
Hi, everyone. My name is Katie McClure. I am the marketing director here at Proxi. Excited to showcase this new feature with you all today. While Chelsea is presenting, I will be manning the chat. So if questions pop up, feel free to put them in there, or this is a very interactive conversation. So feel free to jump in as well to raise your hand. We're trying to make this as helpful to you all as well. But yeah, so I'll be in the chat if you need me.
Yeah, very good. All right, so we are going to first start out with like a basic explanation of what Scavenger Hunt is. And then I would love to hear from the audience if you have any ideas for what scavenger hunts you'd like to plan. And the reason I'll be asking you that question is because I want to speak to what you will be creating, and I can, kind of talk more specifically about our different features if I know what people are thinking about. So Scavenger Hunt. Scavenger Hunt is a way for you to create a fun adventure for your audience. It's a way for you to drop clues about different places around you or your community, or a place that you're traveling to or your audience is traveling to, and have them check in at those places as they solve the clues. You can create awards for people if they've checked into all of the places or even a few of them. People can see the leaderboard, so they can see where they stand amongst other individuals or teams. And then they can also see their progress on the bottom of the screen as well. Now, Scavenger Hunt is also really neat because we allow people to earn points for completing activities as well. So things like submitting a URL of a social post that they've made to earn some extra points, or answer a question with text, or even submit a photo. So we're going to jump into all of that today. I will give a couple of examples of scavenger hunts for communities. One might be local landmarks, and that's actually one that we'll be demoing today. So having people explore the city and learn about the city, by guessing different landmarks and going there. Another one might be a historical secrets hunt. So if you're trying to educate, perhaps people in a history class about the history of a city or a place, you could do a scavenger hunt in that way and have people play. A mural mystery tour, so you could give clues to different, murals and have people go and check into those. An architectural scavenger safari, so having people or giving people clues to buildings and having them go check those out, or like a Main Street riddle walk. So getting people into those Main Street businesses based on clues. So those are just some ideas that I had this morning about different scavenger hunts that you can host. And I know I've heard a lot from our customers that they're excited to educate and draw tourists in with a scavenger hunt feature. So does anyone here have an idea about a scavenger hunt that they'd like to host? Yeah, I see a couple of head nods. That's great. If you want to speak up, you're welcome to. It will help everyone else. Our webinars with the most engagement are the most helpful. So you're welcome to come off your mic if you wish. Come on your mic.
Can you hear me?
Hi, Lynn.
Yes, hi.
Yeah, so I just wanted to say we're actually utilizing your thing. We just started with you guys. We're actually doing a thing this summer. It's not quite a scavenger hunt, but it's where people can collect cards, like these collector cards that tell this story. It's a fantasy story about our town, and they go to different businesses and pick up the cards. And we're utilizing the map to for people to be able to find all these cards. There's 40 cards around town, and then some of the cards have clues that will actually start a scavenger hunt. And then when they get all the different pieces of those clues, those 6 pieces, then they could go. It'll tell them where to go get their prize.
Oh.
So it's kind of utilizing. It's not quite the same like answer question scavenger hunt, but it's still utilizing to try to get people around town.
Yeah.
That's
and
awesome.
Lynn, what organization are you with?
The city of Lockport.
Cool.
In Illinois.
Right on. Thanks for calling in. Anyone else? All right. Okay, well, we will keep moving. So I want to talk through, some basics about Scavenger Hunt before we jump into the demo. So the first thing, so Katie's going to send out a checklist after this call. Thank you, Katie, for developing the checklist. So the first thing on that list is define your goal. So are you trying to, educate people? Are you trying to team build? Are you trying to promote places? Are you trying to drive revenue to places? And that will help you define what places you want in your scavenger hunt and also the clues that you'll be using. So then you'll want to figure out who's going to be playing: coworkers, the public, kids, teens, students, things like this. So you'll want to have that defined. And then, of course, where will it take place? In person or virtual? And I'll show you how you can make this a virtual scavenger hunt as well, which could be kind of fun for a team building exercise. So the next thing that you'll want to do is choose the locations that you'll include in your scavenger hunt. And this is where I'm going to start the demo. So let me share my screen.
We had someone in the chat comment while you're pulling up your screen, Chelsea, that they're looking to do scavenger hunts for self-guided tours such as landmarks, murals, and historic stories in their downtown area.
Oh, I love that. That's a perfect use case. Very good. Okay, I think you can see my screen.
Yep.
So the very first step in the Proxi scavenger hunt setup process is building a new Proxi map. Now, we've had several other webinars about how to build Proxi maps, and there's lots of content online about that too. So I'm going to skip all the basics and assume you have those down. But what you'll do is you'll open a new map, you'll zoom into the city or the place that you're setting up your scavenger hunt, and then you'll add the locations that you want to have included in that scavenger hunt. So here the Proxi team lives in Seattle, and so I obviously want to show off our hometown on this call. And so I've called my scavenger hunt the Great Seattle Search, and I've added the top 5 landmarks here in Seattle. So we've got the Space Needle, we've got Pike Place Market, the Gum Wall, the Great Seattle Wheel, and the Public Library, all of which are iconic landmarks here. All right, so that's the first step. You're going to add all of your points to the map. Any questions before I move to scavenger hunt itself? Okay. All right, so the next thing you'll do to set up scavenger hunt is you'll click in this apps. In the apps section, it lists all of our add-ons to Proxi, and scavenger hunt is one of them. You'll see it here in this list, and you'll click activate, and then it will appear on the left-hand side. So scavenger hunt is right here. I'll click into it, and we'll begin setup. We are going to work our way across the tabs right here, starting with setup, and we'll move all the way across, and then we'll move to the top. And at the very end, I'm going to have all of you register, and you can actually play in the scavenger hunt so you can see how it goes. So the first thing that you do in setup is that you name your setup. And here I've got the Great Seattle Search, and then you'll give a little bit about the scavenger hunt. And so I've written like, join us for the Seattle scavenger hunt. We're taking you through the most iconic landmarks. If you finish the scavenger hunt, you'll win a t-shirt. And so this is where you'll write all about it, what you're awarding as the prize, if anything, and any other details that you'd like to list. The next thing here is that you will set up your check-in dates. You'll have the start date and the end date here. You can check in the you can change the name of the CTA from check-in to whatever else that you want. If you have something brand aligned, you can put that in here. Next, you'll put in your terms and conditions URL, if that's applicable. And you'll decide if you should show the leaderboard to participants. I really like this feature. I think it's a lot of fun, creates a little extra competition and gamification. So the next one is allow users to see progress after the end date. And I think that's great too. You can have people see how they did even in the days after the event ends. Now we get into the core of the scavenger hunt technology, and that is you choose how to display your clues. You can display them all at once in the tool, which is what I'm doing here so that you can get a really good feel for how this works. Or you can have people work through them in the order that you decide. And for every clue that you give, you can choose to give people hints. If they can't guess it based on the first clue, you might want to put in a more obvious hint. And here in this area, you can decide if you want to deduct points from a participant's score if they ask for a hint. And if you don't want to do that, no problem, just put in 0. Any questions about clue display or the point deduction for hints?
Yeah, real quick.
Yeah.
A long time ago, I put a feedback in your Seek plan. It looks like you've implemented it with the guided tour option. With links, if I make my own QR code, can I pass like UTM tags to automatically fill in an authorization code or a approval code?
That's a good
Well,
question.
I don't have to manually do it. Because what I'd like to do is be a little bit nerdy and have RFID tags, beacons, QR codes hidden throughout the town. And
cool.
so when they see it, it automatically does it.
Yeah, so we have QR codes as an option for check-in, and they're automatically created for each place, and we'll get to that in just a moment. We can probably talk to you offline about passing information from Proxi to whatever, via our APIs to whatever you need. Yeah, and we'd be happy to have that conversation.
Yeah, it'd just be the tag at the end of the link, like a UTM.
Yeah, I think that would be doable. Me and Mel are tech expert for you later, Bo.
Right.
But yeah, that's a great question. We love it.
Very good.
Thank you.
Okay, so the next thing we'll move on to is the check-in validation options. So you can choose to validate check-ins, or you can choose to work on the honor system. Most people choose to validate check-ins, so that's how we'll operate this today. What's going to happen here, or below, you can choose what validation options that you want to use for your scavenger hunt. The first option is by scanning a QR code. And so we produce those unique QR codes for every single place. We produce printouts as well to help you. And we'll go through those in a moment. But if you would like to use QR code to have people check in as they guess the clues, then you're welcome to do that by checking that box. The next way to allow people to verify their check-in is with geolocation. They'll have to allow location services to be turned on after they register for the challenge on their mobile device. But as soon as they do that, they will be able to check in with geolocation. And you can set the radius of that check-in right here. So it can be in meters, miles, feet, or kilometers. Yeah. And so I do have that enabled for our scavenger hunt today. So all of you, whenever we do the participation phase of this demo, you'll be able to check in based on geolocation. I just made the radius so huge, it should cover the entire US. And if I need to make it bigger to cover the world, I can. So the next one is allow users to check in by submitting a photo. This is a new one for Proxi, and we're so excited about it. In high demand. So people can check in by submitting a photo of themselves at that place, and you can choose whether or not to have those automatically be approved or for you to manually approve them. Okay. So the next thing is special offer settings. Every location can have a special offer associated with it, and you can hide that special offer until someone checks in, if you please. The next thing that you'll see is awards and badges. And this is really fun because you can define the success criteria behind each award. So for this one, I have created one award, and it is the Seattle Sightseer Supreme. And the criteria is that they must check into all places before they receive that award. And the completion message is right here. So it says, congrats, you've checked in at every location. Enjoy your t-shirt and bragging rights. We'll email you to arrange t-shirt pickup. And that's the message that displays whenever they win that award. And you can set up several different awards. You can set them up by the number of places or number of points that folks earn. And that's totally up to you. I do usually get questions when I hit awards and badges when I'm speaking to people day to day. So I'd love to open up the floor for questions.
Is there a limit on to how many awards and badges you can have, Chelsea?
No, there is not.
Great.
Well, at least no one has found that limit so far. So you can create some fun awards. Okay, if we're ready, we're going to move on to clues. This is a really fun part of the demo. So what happens is that all of the places that you put on your Proxi map appear right here in this list. And after it appears, you are going to click all of the boxes or check all of the boxes of the places that you would like to make active in the scavenger hunt. Or you can click this right here that says make all of them active, and it will check all the boxes. So here we are going to click edit, and you can see that it prompts you for a clue. It prompts you for a hint, which will need to be more obvious than the clue. For the cover image, it's optional, but you can add in a picture of the place if you would like, or like a clue image, if that makes sense. Now, I alluded to this just a moment ago in awards and badges, but every place can have a different point value. Some places may be worth more as a check-in than other places. All places have the default point check-in value of 1. If you would like to change that point check-in value, then you would change that right here. And then if you do want to play based on points rather than the number of places, in your awards and badges, you would use this drop down to click on points and not places. So back to clues. I leave this as 1 usually for most of my scavenger hunts. And then there's a check-in code here. Now, in Proxi, there's a 4-digit check-in code associated with every place. You can publish these codes at the places if you wish to have people type in that code to check in, but it is not necessary as long as you check in as long as you check another validation method. If you do choose to use check-in codes, you can change that value, any 4-digit value that you prefer. And finally, if we have geofence check-in enabled, then this box will be checked for you. Okay, any questions before I move on to activities? All right. Activities are next. So you can award activity points to participants for finding a place or completing a task, and they're not tied to any specific location. So I have 2 activity points set up right now, and one is snapping a selfie. So I've just said the award name is snapping a selfie, take a picture of yourself doing the challenge and submit it to win a sticker. Now, of course, you should change that messaging to whatever you prefer it be. You can change the award icon, the point value associated with that, and the submission type as well. So here, obviously, I've asked for a photo, so I'm going to have that as the submission type. Though the other two submission types are text and URL. So you can have people answer questions with text, or you can have a URL, and we'll cover that next. So my next award is post about the search on Insta. So paste the URL to your Instagram post to receive a prize, and this should be URL right there. And we'll click save. Any questions about activity points before I move on? Okay.
Not a question, but just as a fellow marketer, I love this opportunity for user-generated content. We found this to be really successful with our similar product, passport challenges, whereas people are doing those, people are submitting their photos of them out and about, and then the organizations who are hosting these events get all this great user-generated content to be able to reflect and promote their events in the future. So it's really, really awesome.
Great point, Katie. The next thing that we're going to work through right now is the registration page. This may be one of the most important parts of your scavenger hunt, so we'll cover this in depth. We will come back to the top section here, which is how you share, but we'll start with registration form content. You'll want to have a registration form heading, which is the title of your event, and then you're going to want to provide a description about the event. This might be the same description that you've used in setup, and that's totally fine. But you'll want to go ahead and put in details about the hunt here. So it might be what prizes people are earning, when it is, you know, the purpose of the event, etc. And then you'll have the registration button text. You can input a cover image and a logo if you wish. And then down here, you can define what form fields you want to have in the registration form. So right now I've got email address, phone number, and I've put in a custom field. And for me, this custom field is your zip code. I know for destination marketers or Main Street organizations, oftentimes you want to know where people are coming from when they're participating in your event. And so I've asked people for their zip code of residence. Now you can add other custom fields too. So whenever you click that, you can scroll down here and you can create a new field name. You can decide if it's required or not. And then you can decide how that comes back. So it can be text, number, a checkbox URL, or a select from a dropdown. Okay. Before I move on to sharing the registration, does anyone have any questions? Okay. So up here, we see the share registration form area. These are the links that you're going to want to share for your scavenger hunt. You do not want to use the regular shared links on your Proxi map. That's because those are links to the map, and you're really getting people, you want people to participate in the challenge, and, or excuse me, the scavenger hunt, and these are the links for the scavenger hunt. So when you're thinking scavenger hunt, only publish the links here. And though these links say registration, and that's true, these are also the links that you'll want to publish after the event is live. Because once people register, it takes them right to their unique event page. So if you hear nothing else, publish these links. These are the ones you want to publish for Scavenger Hunt. So you have your embed code, you have your registration link, you've got a QR code, and now we have a fun page where people can go to play.proxi.co and type in a code to join. So the other thing I need to note about registration is that registration is active. See in the upper left, you're going to want to have that toggled on when you publish that page. I mean, you could have it toggled off, but that just means that it will say come back later. Registration is not active. But once you toggle that on, people will be able to input the details that you've asked for about themselves. And it will, after they submit, and if the scavenger hunt is not live, it will just say, come back on this date to participate in the scavenger hunt. I would say that based on experience so far, the most optimal time to start registration is 30 days out from your event. Katie and I can both speak to best practices in marketing, but you'll want to promote it everywhere. So it'll be on your website, it'll be in your newsletter, your social posts. You'll have all of the participating places perhaps even publish about this challenge or the scavenger hunt. So as much marketing as you can get out there beforehand, about 30 days in advance, is really positive. And then you'll receive people's contact information as it comes in. And so we'll look at that right now. As people register for the challenge here, all of their info pops into participants. And so you're going to want to download this list as the event approaches and perhaps nurture them with email too. Or the day that the scavenger hunt starts, you'll want to shoot them a note. Hey, the scavenger hunt starts today. Remember to access your unique link in your email to get started. Now, as a really exciting side note, Proxi will be launching messaging sometime this summer, and that will allow you to communicate primarily via email, perhaps SMS, to your participants, and we'll have different canned messaging in there as well. So for instance, the day that your scavenger hunt is set to start, we'll have an automated message that says, the scavenger hunt starts today. But as of this very moment, that's a manual push from you all, and the way that you get people's contact information is right here. Okay, let's cover more information on this participants and results page. You can see some stats right up here, how many people are registered, how many places are visited, and how many points have been earned. Down here, you can see the number of participants and the number of check-ins, the point count, and their unique link. So if they lose their link for some reason and they come asking, you'll be able to send that to them by copying and pasting. Once you click into someone, you can see the places that they've checked in. You can add bonus points for them. You can resend them the welcome email if they've lost it. You can hide them from the leaderboard. For instance, I would probably hide all of the people participating right now because it's our team from the leaderboard. So you can, have your team participating and testing and making sure things are working, and hide them from that leaderboard if you wish. You can reset user data if something has happened where that would be necessary, and you can remove a user from the scavenger hunt if they are not playing by the rules. Okay, and then up at the top, if you have photo approval turned on, your approvals will come in right here and you'll see them ready to approve. And then we have a check-in page. And that just shows you some stats about check-ins, and you can download all that check-in data and manipulate it, perhaps in a table or something like that if you need to. Okay, my last note up here is that you'll want to turn your scavenger hunt live whenever your event begins. The reason that the toggle exists here, in addition to the start date, is that sometimes scavenger hunts or other events have like a time that it would start, like 8 a.m. rather than midnight that day. So you'll want to, we encourage people to toggle that on when they're ready for the scavenger hunt to begin. You can toggle that off when it is when it has concluded. And if you need to turn it off like overnight, for instance, or something, or for whatever reason, you can come in here and toggle it off. Okay, so now we are going to have you play along. But before I do that, what questions do we have about setup? How can Katie and Melinda and I help you?
That's something I'd like to know.
Yes.
I know I can share the link for the contest. However, if I want to provide the owners of those restaurants or places a way to share their restaurant and also in that restaurant have the link to the contest. I mean, I like to have a way for them to share not only the map of all the restaurants, but their place is being shown, and also the link to the contest. Is that possible?
Yeah, so let's cover a couple things. First of all, the link to the contest would be these. So you can publish these links to whoever's participating as well, business-wise, and they can publish them on their end. So, you know, a restaurant could say, hey, we're participating in this scavenger hunt. Go ahead and share these links so that their customers can register. Does that answer one of your questions?
Yes, but I was meaning like, for example, well, in my use case, I have a map with several places.
Yeah.
And I like the owner of one of those places, or several owners, having the ability to send the map. But you know, if they send currently the map, if I send currently the map, it shows all the places the same. But I want to be able to have one place to be visible. I mean,
so I'm going to go ahead and answer that question for you, but I'm also going to tell you why you don't want to do that for scavenger hunt. So so let me answer the question first. So to share a specific place on a map, hold on just a moment. I'm going to show you. If a restaurant wants to promote their singular business on a map, they would go to the viewer version of the map. Hold on, my internet really doesn't like it when I'm on video. Hold on just a moment. Okay, so you'll have the viewer version of the map, and the owner, let's say Space Needle's a restaurant, Space Needle owner or marketing manager can click this button right here, the little share. And then they can share the map with their point highlighted. Now, the reason, so I think, Hector, maybe we can get on the phone separately, but I think maybe what you might need is a passport challenge and not a scavenger hunt. And the reason I say that is because whenever if you share this scavenger hunt map, people will see the locations, which kind of defeats the purpose of a scavenger hunt. A scavenger hunt is a mystery. It is clue-based. It is not, you are not meant to share the map with a scavenger hunt. So what you're talking about is a passport challenge. And we have a lot of, Katie and I can share that content with you. But if you have that passport challenge, it works very similarly to the scavenger hunt. And in that case, their locations are not secret. They are widely known. So restaurants in like a restaurant week would, of course, want to promote themselves in their discrete location. So I hope that makes sense, that the scavenger clue-based, your passport challenge is you know, check-in based, and people will know where those points are.
I see. Thank you. That works for me. Yeah.
Yep, and it works very similarly. So if you've seen this demo, you'll be able to operate the other
We'll take a look at that. Thank you.
Yeah, anytime. Okay, any other questions before we all play together?
Quick question in regards to rules and kind of a legal boilerplate.
Yeah.
Is there going to be, will you guys offer just a generic legal boilerplate that, you know, if you get hit by a car while participating in this?
No, we will not. We also don't want to be liable for that. So we do encourage you to go ahead and find a boilerplate for yourself and paste that into terms and conditions. And that, just as a heads up, the other questions we most frequently get about terms and conditions are the use of email address and picture as well. And so those, you would want to cover those at least in a disclaimer statement, if not full-blown terms and conditions.
Thank you.
I think the one last thing we should highlight before moving on, Chelsea, is just, I know the share links are a little confusing, but they're also so powerful because you don't need an app to play on Proxi. It is just a link. So it really makes the barrier to entry a lot lower. You don't have to go out and download a whole separate platform to go use and have all your participants have to download and use. It really is just a link that they can be sent in their email, on text message, or they click on it from your social media post. It really opens the doors to a lot more accessibility, and it's really kind of what makes Proxi a little different and special compared to other tools out there.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you so much, Katie. That's just a fantastic point. And other differentiators in terms of Proxi are the self-setup. This is just so simple. Like, you know, it's 9:37 and we have an entire scavenger hunt set up already and just about ready to publish. It might take you a few extra minutes your first time, but it's very user-friendly, and it's also really affordable, especially compared to you know, any other option on the marketplace. So we're really proud of the technology that we've been able to bring to folks, and we're excited to work with you. But we'll keep going. So I'm going to go ahead and copy this registration link, and I'm going to paste it here in the chat. Now, before I do that to you, I want to remind you that this experience is meant for mobile. It is not really meant for desktop. So you'll see the difference between mobile and desktop. But since you're probably on your desktop now, I just want to give you that caveat when you register that this is meant to be viewed on mobile. In addition to sending you this link here, if you do want to play along on mobile, I would definitely prefer that you experience that way your first time. So I'm going to pull up the QR code here, maybe, if my computer lets me, and I will put that on my screen, and you can scan that to register.
Great.
Okay. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and send the link in chat right now, and the QR code is on the screen. So I would encourage you, if you do want to play along, to go ahead and scan that code or operate in the chat. And Katie, I'm going to turn over my screen to you, and I will narrate as Katie presents. Or Katie can narrate. I don't want to steal that from you.
Oh, good. So I have registered for the challenge, or not the challenge, the scavenger hunt, and I am plopped into my clues section here.
Let's pause just for a moment. Has anyone experienced problems getting to this point? Or are we'll give you 30 more seconds to try to get to this point.
Great. Fabulous. I shall go ahead and try to solve clue number 1. So I'm going to click on it. I can see where fish fly, flowers bloom, and pigs guard the way. As a Seattle local, I'm pretty sure I know what this is. I'm going to say it is the Pike Place Market. But just to show you how things work, I'm going to view a hint to try to see if I'm correct before I commit to my answer. Are you sure you want to view a hint? So if you get this prompt, then if you ask for a hint, we're going to, double check that that's in fact what they want to do, especially in the cases of where maybe a hint deducts from their point value or causes any difference there. So I'm going to go ahead and say, okay. So the hint is find Seattle's oldest market, home of flying fish and Rachel the pig. Great. So this does really sound like Pike Place Market. So I'm going to go ahead and check in. Well, in the world, I would zoom over to Pike Place Market, and maybe I am going to scan a QR code or do whatever check-in version that you have set up. For this case, I can either submit a photo or I can try geolocation. Or Chelsea, were you thinking Do you have a preference on which one I choose for this?
Try geolocation and see if your location
I'm
service
close enough. I am close enough. Yay, perks of living in Seattle. Great, so then I was able to successfully visit my place. Looks like I got 0 points because I did use the hint function, but now I can look and see more information about that place and be able to go there.
All right. Then you'll notice at the bottom that the participation bar is filling in as she goes. Katie, if you can work through the others quickly, I would love to show them what happens along the way. So as she checks in, what happens is that there's confetti and those places move over to the visited tab, and you get more information about those points. Now, of course, people wouldn't be working through them so quickly, so it would be a very smooth experience here. But people really enjoy this process. Okay, so check it out. Katie has won the award. It flashes a pop-up here. It says she's got the Seattle Sightseer Supreme Award. She's won a t-shirt. And it says that we'll arrange pickup for that shirt. Now, Katie, should we navigate over to progress? Okay. So here we see the points earned, we see the places visited, and activities completed. She has not yet completed activities, so we can go there if you want. And here we have the snap a selfie and post about the search on Insta. As she would, if she did complete those would appear in the completed column, and especially after approval. So I think she's gonna put in a random URL for me, and it says awaiting approval. And then if you go over to leaderboard, you can see, all right, so we've got a bunch of people registered here. You know, over time we'll click refresh and we'll see how people are doing. And we see that Katie and, oh boy, we have another top placer here. Very exciting. But yeah, so that is the user experience for Scavenger Hunt. And Katie, if you don't mind me taking it back, I'm going to be showing what happens on the back end.
Fabulous. Yeah, we can see my activity awaiting approval.
Yeah. So as we navigate over to participants and results, I'll click refresh and check this out. We have everyone participating right here. We have the number of check-ins, the point count. We'll use Katie as the example. And we see that she has checked in at these 5 points. She has won an award, and we have 1 photo to approve. So let's look over to approval. So we have these waiting to be approved, and you can see the person, and you can see the activity that we need to approve, and you can view their link if it is a URL. Now we linked over to Proxi, so I'm not going to look at that, but we'll just say approve. And if you want to approve all, then you can. Now we'll notice that Katie, rather than having 4 points because she used a hint and 1 point was deducted upon check-in, she now has 5 points because she completed an activity as well. Now, if we click into awards earned, you may need a list of like the people who you need to give t-shirts to or who you need to get your award to, and you want that easily accessible. So what you do is you just click the awards earned, and if you have multiple awards, you can click into each to get detail. But it shows here that we've got Katie and we've got Team Fast Finders who have won, and we can reach out to them to give them their awards. Okay, so I'm gonna go back over to setup, and I am ready for questions. That is the conclusion of our demo and play along portion of this webinar. So